Hello YouTube, it is ChampionDJK coming at you again with another video, and I am pleased to present you the Hot Wheels Hot Ones series, the second wave for 2025 to hit Target here in the United States. I don't know if they're available in other countries. They probably are, based on the multi-language packaging and all that jazz. I'm sure they're available elsewhere, but in the US, we'll find these at Target. I'm a big fan of like the retro series stuff that hits Target here in the US. It's something that's cool, I think, because, reminds me of my childhood cars, stuff like that. I just think they're kind of cool series. I really liked the Ultra Hots, and now we got the Hot Ones, and it's cool. I like these series. I will collect them. I know they're not for everybody, but we're going to go ahead and take a look at these. It's an 8-car wave, just like the first wave was. And some pretty cool casting choices for this particular wave. So let's go ahead and just get started. We've got number 1 of 8 here is the Mazda REPU. Again, just to look at the packaging, it is a kind of homage to the original Hot Wheels Hot Ones packaging. It's kind of similar to it. And I don't have one here to show you. But it is kind of nice. I mean, it's kind of nice. It's got like a gloss, almost like embossed feel to the logo, or like a raised printing. And I think they're cool. I think it's really neat. All right, and then multi-language, like I said, on the back, lists all the cars. The card is very thin, very, very thin cardboard, but obviously that doesn't bother me since we're going to rip everything open today. So starting with this little Mazda REPU, little Mazda pickup truck, kind of a cool little casting. So these, I guess, would be considered this kind of like the Silver Series diecast, where they're not like premium and they're not basic either. So normally a basic car, you're going to get a plastic base, metal body, plastic tires, and then you're going to get like a couple sides of a couple surfaces covered in graphics or tampos. So in this line, and like the other kind of silver line, you're basically going to get a full deco situation. They can pretty much put the tampos everywhere. As you can see here, we got headlights in the front, which is actually done with the printing process, it looks like, from the Hot Wheels Premium series. And then we got tampo on the side, which is kind of interesting. There's like a mixed bag of what they use to actually put graphics on the car. And then we get these wheels that are the Hot Ones wheels that you don't see these on mainline cars, so they are special to this particular series. So it's not, it's a step above mainline, a step below premium, I guess, but I've been really liking this kind of middle ground set. The question is the cost. Is that worth it? These things are like $3 and change a piece, roughly 3 times the cost of a mainline. And maybe that's not worth it for you. The other thing is that they've got, that's kind of neat, of course, is like a Spectraflame paint. This is very much similar to Super Treasure Hunt paint. So that's kind of neat as well. But I'm a fan. I think they're pretty cool. And I'm definitely digging it. We're going to start with that Mazda REPU. Cool car, cool truck, whatever. Pretty decent one there. And like I said, it's cool stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and open up the next one. The next one is the 69 Corvette Racer. This one in blue. Let's go ahead and open up that one. Very pretty color. Very pretty color blue. Corvette Racer. I always like to look too when the castings came out. So this one's 2016 copyright date. That kind of tells you around how old the casting is. I talk about that in every video, but if you're new here, it's good information for you. This one's also a copyright date of 2016. The Corvette Racer's kind of neat. It's just a top replaced with a roll cage. And again, we got deco everywhere on it. So you got taillights, you got headlights, you got graphical details on every side. It rolls. Of course, it's a Hot Wheels. And you got the Hot Ones wheels. And all together, it's a nice look for this particular casting. I think it's okay. Not the most exciting casting in the set. Neither of these are, but we're getting to those. All right. Follow it up with a Nissan Skyline R30. So this thing's pretty neat. It's a Skyline, so undoubtedly somewhat popular. Although this isn't a really popular Skyline. It's not an R34 or an R33 or an R32 for that matter. or a Ken Mary, or a Hacko. This is the R30, which is kind of actually one of my favorites because I just like this just straight up rectangle look. I think it's pretty neat. This one we get in a kind of Spectraflame green with some green graphics on it, and I think it looks quite good. I dig that. So there's your taillights. This one's got the what appears to be a plastic inserted headlight. It's just part of the window piece. Pretty neat. This one also has a plastic base. And 2017 is the copyright date on this particular model. I think it looks pretty awesome. And I guess I'm just going to say that over and over because I really like all of these. I just like the style. I know it's not the most of my collection really is honestly like more realistic cars. And, you know, it very much leans towards that. But I would say the second category of stuff I collect is also more vintage or nostalgic stuff. So this goes in like it's got that vintage feel, yet it's new. And I'm a sucker for it. So I will be collecting these Hot Ones series probably until I stop collecting them. I also bought all the Ultra Hots when those came out as well. And those had like 4 waves or 5 waves of those cars. I've got all of them. So naturally, I'm going to be getting all of these. I just really like them. I think they look neat. All the little pretty Spectraflame colors. Sucker for it. All right. Next is the Porsche 917LH. And I thought it was interesting that this car was put into a second wave because this car was also in the first wave. And this one's got a plastic base. 2017 is the copyright date on the casting. It's kind of in a green and yellow. Kind of interesting. They got the premium style, which is actually worse, to be honest. The premium style graphics on the side, you get that dot matrix look, which I'm not a huge fan of. And then you got tampos, which are actually like sharp. So it's kind of interesting they printed the top different than they did the sides. Why I thought this was kind of weird was because this car was actually in the first wave, or this casting was in the first wave, and here it is right here. But this one's got a metal base. Kind of weird, right? Now, I don't know. Is there a metal base version of this out in this wave too? I don't know. There was talks initially about there being chases in this series and stuff like that. If you saw like the Mattel sneaks during conventions and stuff, they like basically said some of the cars were chases, and I don't know. I don't know what the deal is with that. If anybody knows, you guys can let me know in the comments below. But this one got full tampo treatment, none of the dot matrix stuff, and it got gold Hot Ones wheels instead of silver, and a metal red base. Of course, instead of the yellow. So the color scheme's different, obviously. But that is kind of interesting that the decision was made to put this casting in subsequent waves, which is just a little bit weird. You don't normally see that, but we'll go ahead and put this one aside because that's not part of this wave. Definitely like that first version a little bit better than this one. Not just because of the metal base. I think the color scheme looks a little bit better. But cool casting nonetheless. I'm not mad at it. I'll take a Porsche anytime, so fine enough for me. All right, moving on, we've got the Fiat 60s Fiat 500D Modificado, and this one's going to be a peg warmer. However, it's nice. It's just these are coming, I believe, 2 to a case. So there's 8 cars in this set, and the cases are cases of 12. I'm almost 100% certain there's 2 of these. I didn't really pay too much attention, but I did get to open a box. There's 2 of these in the case. I'm pretty sure there's 2 of these in the case. So there, 4 of them, right, are going to be duplicate in the case. This one's definitely one of those as well. So this will probably be your easiest one to find at your local Target. Will be this little Fiat. It's cool looking. The red color is beautiful. I'm a sucker for this kind of translucent red, kind of candy apple red look. Big fan of that. If you watch my channel frequently, you probably know why. But yeah, it's decent. Copyright date 2023 on this particular tooling. This one's got a plastic base again. And it's a good looking little Hot Wheels. And it definitely looks, it's got that retro feel and look to it. And, you know, like I said, like I've been saying, I like that. I think that's cool. Let's go ahead and lower the angle here. So yeah, I think it's neat. Y'all have to let me know what you think about it. Again, you get the dot matrix printing up front. There's really, well, there is a little tampo action on the back, and then tampos on the side, which the tampos look really sharp, and the dot matrix stuff does not. Tampo on the top as well. So that's pretty cool. And then let's go to this one. This is number 6 in the series. It's a 67 Ford GT40 Mark IV. Not really the coolest looking GT40, but cool to get nonetheless in this retro looking set. This one you basically get a Zamac, which is kind of neat. Just a clear coat on this guy. And tampo action, it looks like, all the way around. This really does fit with the style. This car, though, fits with the style, especially like this and this one. That's pretty neat to have those, I guess, together in a set. So we actually got some, like, race car looking things, right? So you got that. You got the Corvette Racer. There's, like, 4 cars in here. And then an upcoming one as well that's kind of race car-ish, which is kind of a cool thing. So I think this one's nice, as I do think all of these are somewhat nice. The other thing with the silver series of Hot Wheels are the kind of medium, mid-tier, we'll call them, store purchase stuff. They typically, the tampos and everything, it seems like they got to step up a little bit in quality control, and the tampos are usually pretty darn sharp and well placed, which you'd expect, I guess, for something that costs 3 times as much as a mainline. It also looks like these are made, I think these are made, oh, these are made in Malaysia. For some reason, I thought they were made in Thailand. They're not. Interestingly enough. Yeah, Malaysia. All right, so there's that. But digging that one. I think that one's pretty neat. My favorite one, though, in the set, I think, is coming up. And that is going to be this guy right here. We get a Volkswagen T1 panel bus combi, which is really cool to get, actually. Now, the reason why this is really cool, let me open it up. But for one, now these I think only come 1 to a case. For one, we've got a metal base on this one, which is nice. It gives it a nice weight. And the reason why I really dig in that, we don't often get this casting like outside of like pop culture or whatever. So like a lot of times, you know, the other available ones of this casting, if you're trying to collect this particular casting, a lot of them are just like graphics on the side that are just crazy. Like, you know, like Star Wars, or I don't know if it wasn't a Star Wars release, but, you know, something like that, some pop culture release. And I'm not really into those releases. So this one's got graphics on the side, of course, but it just says the hot ones on the side. And I think it looks really nice. And again, the metal base, and I like the metal base is black. It's just a very good look for this car, or van, or whatever. But yeah, this is probably my favorite one in the set. I think it's really cool, and it's got definitely that retro vibe, and I'm definitely digging it. So, big fan of this one. I think this one was really nice. I was excited to get this one. And these ones are coming, I think, 1 per case, as well as I think these 510s are also 1 per case, which is our last one that we're going to look at. But overall, I dig it. I dig it. I dig it a lot. And then lastly, we've got the 71 Datsun 510, which of course is a Hot Wheels fan favorite casting. You know, really the VW is too. But these are definitely going to be the two. If you're going to try to find these in the store, probably the two that are going to be the hardest to find, as far as I know. That would be my guess. That's what it's going to be. And this one also has a metal base, which is cool. Date on the casting. Did we look at the date on the bus? I don't think we did. This is 2008 and 2023 because it got like retooled. This one doesn't have a date on it. Interesting. All right, so Datsun 510. Although this is in Minnesota Vikings colors, which, bleh, not really liking that. Not liking that at all. We got the Vikings versus the Packers. But yeah, not really digging that, but I guess it does still look kind of good. Metal base, and undoubtedly this one's going to be a little bit tougher to find just because it's a Datsun 510. I don't know. Are these things still popular? You do get 2 purple cars in this set, so they didn't quite get through, you know, a rainbow of colors here. But, you know, let me know what you think. I dig this stuff. I've already said it, but I dig this stuff. I think this stuff is neat. It's a nice little different thing to get besides, you know, your Hot Wheels Premium, or you get Car Culture and Boulevard, stuff like that, versus main lines. I think this stuff is kind of sits in its own, and it's very much Hot Wheels. You know, it's very much, it's very on brand for Hot Wheels, right? So I think it's a cool set. It's a cool series, and I will continue to collect these because I think that they're fun to collect. So you guys let me know what you think. Maybe this is not your thing, right? Maybe it's not your thing. Maybe you're just enamored with Hot Wheels Ferraris lately, which we haven't got one in one of these sets. That'd be interesting to see one of those pop out in a Spectraflame red. I think that would look pretty awesome. Don't think they'll do it, but at least not this year. Well, yeah. Let me know what you think. This is going to be in the Silver Labels series Hot Wheels playlist. It's something like that, where I've got this mid-tier series of cars, which they've put out tons of different series so far. Over the last year, there have been just a multitude of different sets to collect, not just retro-themed stuff, but all sorts of stuff. I'm sure you know that, unless you've been living under a rock or whatever, or unless you're new to Hot Wheels, but yeah, check this stuff out. So, yeah, cool. All right. Well, thank you guys very much for watching, and have a good day.